Do IPPs patronize you as well?
The only reason they're not is because they have not set up yet, right? Or at least because most IPPs usually sell to the utility, or at least most of those that I'm aware of. Now that the minister has set the policy, right, and NERC, for the willing buyer, willing seller, contract engagement for power generation, I'm sure we're going to be getting approached by a lot more of those arrangements. I know quite a few have called us, actually, and I'm sure we'll be getting patronage from those as well.
There have been reports in the industry that some discos are reluctant to buy electricity meters from local manufacturers. What's your response to these reports?
That was the case in 2013, probably. That was probably so in 2014. Fast forward to today, that is no longer the case. In fact, as far back as 2015, that was not the case, right? And I think if it was cheaper, or foreign meters were cheaper, it would make sense. They probably would want to buy them abroad. But in this case, or what is true today, is that foreign meters are not cheaper, right? Our meters equate with, or rather equal, if not maybe comparable in pricing to meters that are imported. The whole sense of importation is because we have this mindset that it's better technology, well tested, who produced it, quality assurance, the whole 9 yards.
So let's talk about the Bank of Industry. Where did the story begin?
Bank of Industry, as I mentioned, came into the picture in 2011 when we approached them about the desire to produce meters in Nigeria. Partly because we knew that obviously there would be a huge demand. Of course, there was a huge metering gap at the time in 2011, about 80% metering gap in the country, where a lot of homes were not metered in Nigeria.
It will be interesting to hear about your experience at the Bank of Industry whilst you were, for instance, applying for the loan, whilst the structure of the loan was being worked out. What was your experience?
Bank of Industry was probably one of the few firms that I was very impressed with. I'd just come back to Nigeria then, and I was impressed with their structure. I remember BoI, which is known as the BoI had a trust and investment arm, right, as well. And they were willing to even do some of the feasibility and market study alongside us, right, to be able to, put together what was going to be a comprehensive business plan to explain, of course, how, the use of funds, right, the funds utility, and, of course, the return on investment, etc. I'm excited to state that, of course, what we had on paper has come to pass today. At the time, we had looked to have a penetration, probably about 50% in the market. But I'm glad to say that today we're at probably about 80% penetration, where we're doing business with at least 7 or 8 out of 11 of the utilities in Nigeria today.
So let's talk about the impact of that intervention by the Bank of Industry, which is run into about 3-4 years now. Where were you in terms of production and capacity at that time? And I'd like you to compare that to where you are right now.
Prior to engaging BoI, of course, we were using our own funds for business. And not just our own funds, but funds at commercial rate, all right, to the commercial banks, which at the time was more single digit, not single digit, double digits, but more like 18% or what have you. Today, if you fast forward today, without BoI's intervention, I would be, funds at 20-something%, right? But to access money at 9%, okay, was a lifesaver, right, in Nigeria. And of course, it made everything a lot easier, for us. So obviously, the acquisition costs for all of our equipment that we so desperately needed, right, for our production process, was a little cheaper to achieve. And also, it also gave us that, as I mentioned again, that soft landing as well, because we had that 1-year moratorium, all right, in our repayment, all right. And that 1-year moratorium, I think, helped with the cushion, as I mentioned to you, in 2013 to 2014, there was very little business being done, right? So it helped a lot then because we probably wouldn't have been able to make the repayments. But we, of course, aggressively went after the market, and by 2015 or what have you, we're getting a lot more uptake from the utilities. And there are many utilities. I mean, I remember Disco, and even Abuja, and quite a few who, contrary to what a lot of people thought, were willing and were one of the very first few. Even Ibadan Disco, I would hate to even segregate right now because there were quite a few of them who supported us, and that's because they knew that as a company, we not only had the technology, we not only had the quality products, but we also had a quality service, all right? And service is key. You don't just sell the meters and kiss them goodbye. The service is required because these meters, as I mentioned, are smart electronics.